Hi, everyone. I hope all is well and that you're somewhat able to enjoy this beautiful day. We have a really special guest joining us today for Mindful Moments. Shanita Williams is joining us once again. She did kick us off with the Mindful Moments, one of our very first sessions. So we were still figuring out the kinks and how to approach mindful moments. And so we were so thankful, or I'm so thankful that Shanita decided and agreed to join us again so we could get her recorded. And I did press record, so I know I asked a million people to help me with that. I did press record, so thank you. So we're really excited, and we're going to go through this session similar to the first time we went through the session, where I'm going to kick off with a little meditation, and then Shanita will take us through her how to manage and protect your energy, especially during these times. We had a little conversation before this started, and I don't want to take away your what you're going to say, but Shanita was saying that it's more important than ever, and I'm excited to relearn some of the tips and tricks that Shanita had mentioned earlier. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the meditation. So for those of you that have been meditating with us, that's wonderful. For those of you that are new to meditation, I like to just give you a brief intro. And so with meditating, you can really be in any position. The best is if you're sitting. But I know sometimes in the mornings, if I'm trying to still wake up, I will lay down, and that's always fine. But if you're middle of the day, it's good to be sitting. You can always sit on the floor as well, and it kind of helps if your hips are a little bit above your feet if you're cross-legged. But if you're in a chair, which I'm guessing a lot of people are because it's the middle of the day, you can just sit comfortably in your chair. You want to sit up straight, but not too straight where you're uncomfortable, but not too relaxed where you're going to fall right asleep. And then you can just leave your hands wherever on the table, in your lap. If you have armrests, you can always put your hands on, or your arms on your armrest, and just really be comfortable. Feet on the ground if that's comfortable for you. My feet don't reach, so sometimes I have to be on my toes. But again, just be really comfortable. And then we'll start with taking one really deep breath in through our nose, and then exhale through our mouth. And then take another deep breath in through our nose. And then on the next exhale, I invite you to close your eyes. Or if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, that's fine. You can also have a nice soft gaze to the ground. And right when you get into your meditation position, just take a second to see how you're feeling, just overall. How are you feeling today? Do you have a sense of lightness? Maybe there's a sense of tension. Maybe you're just feeling really calm at this moment. But just take a second to recognize how you're feeling. And then take a second to recognize where you feel your breath the strongest. So you can do this in a number of different ways. You can just breathe naturally if that's what's comfortable for you. You can also take a few deep breaths. If you take a deep breath, this can really help you figure out where your breath is the strongest. So whichever way you decide to do it, if you take one deep breath in, and try to figure out where your breath is the strongest, and then exhale. Do this 2 or 3 times. And as you're doing this, figure out if your breath is the strongest in your nose. Some people say their breath is strongest in their back of their throat, maybe your chest, maybe your belly. Really doesn't matter, but just see if you can recognize where you feel the breath the strongest. And now I invite you to try to focus your attention on that space. So for me, my breath typically is strongest in my belly. So I would focus my attention just on my belly. And if your mind wanders as you're focused, and we're going through this mini meditation, that's fine. Just very gently and non-judgmentally bring your attention back to wherever your breath is the strongest. Again, if your mind wanders, it's totally fine. Just take a little note of it, very mindfully and non-judgmentally. Just bring your attention back to your breath. Now I invite you to start feeling the seat underneath you and just recognizing how that feels. Maybe take a second to feel your feet. See if you can feel your socks against your feet. Maybe start wiggling your fingers. Hearing the birds chirping outside, if you can hear that. And then whenever you're ready, I invite you to take one more deep breath in. And then on the exhale, slowly open your eyes. Okay, well, thank you for joining me in that meditation. It was just a nice, gentle, short meditation to get us started. So without any further ado, Shanita, if you would like to take it away.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Layla. That meditation was perfect. I just need you to come every day around noon to do that for me because you always guide us through that so perfectly. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you this afternoon to talk about something that I think hits us all from time to time, which is a low battery. So we're going to talk today about how do you manage and protect your energy because the reality is there are a lot of things that are pulling on our energy. So how many of you have ever said, I don't think I have the energy today? Go ahead, type in the chat box. If I'm alone in that, that's okay. But has anyone else ever said, I don't think I have enough energy today? Even when you had a full agenda planned, things that you were excited about doing, but I think we've all said it. I love this. Even with coffee, Kayla, you said, yes, I have said that. And human energy is a powerful thing. With energy comes our ability to think and be creative and innovative and solve problems. And you can feel when that energy is not quite at the level that you want it to be, because you know where you need either a second or third cup of coffee, that you need a little bit more oomph to go into your day. And I was sharing with Layla that the first time that I did this webinar, I was in a different place. We had just moved to our remote space. And now today, 10 weeks in, my energy, there are different things that are pulling on my energy that I never thought of. So I want to hear from you. Go ahead and put in the chat box, what are some of the things that you feel you are spending some of your energy on? What are some of the things for you when you think about all the places, people, and things that you have to give your energy to? What are some of those things for you? I love it. Yes, taking care of others. Wedding planning, congratulations, Maria. Parents, absolutely, balancing work and taking care of family, supporting students and helping them through their challenges, right? There's a lot going on in the world, caring for your children, the computer for work and personal needs. Absolutely, I'm working through tech challenges all day, every day, trying to make sure that I have the skills to navigate that. Homeschooling, yes, I have three children, all in three different levels of education, and we're trying to do it. Thank God for my husband. Planning retirement, volunteering, home stuff, not getting socialized. All right, not having those personal interactions. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of things that are pulling on our energy, from homeschooling to even our fur babies who need love, our home projects, work projects, and Zoom fatigue is real. Ring Central fatigue is real. Spending time looking at a screen for hours on end, those things definitely take your energy. And oftentimes we find ourselves having to multitask, to divide our energy amongst the many things that we need to accomplish throughout the day. So there's no wonder that we all find ourselves saying, I wish I was like the Energizer Bunny and can keep going and going. But the reality is that we can't, right? So we have to be very intentional and thoughtful about measuring and monitoring our energy levels throughout the day. Now, if we take it a little step further, we have to think about every process in every human, in every human being, any living organism, is driven by energy. So we need energy to move our muscles. How many of you put your feet on the floor this morning and was like, oh, I don't know if I can get up? I did that. We need energy to run our nervous system, to coordinate all the body movements and processing our memories, regulating our mood. All of that takes energy. So what I hope to do with you guys today is to talk about, how do I check my energy battery? Other than just saying, I'm feeling a little low, like how do we actually explicitly call that out and really give it a name, so that we can have some intentional actions associated with it. We'll also talk about, so then how do I recharge once I figure out that I need a little bit more? What are some of the things I can intentionally do? And then also, how do I manage it? Once I recharge it, what are the things I should be thinking about? And then how do I share my energy with others? The law of thermodynamics says energy is not created or destroyed, it's just transferred, right? So every time we interact with someone, we are transferring our energy, whether it's low energy, high energy, energy is transferring. And so being very thoughtful about how we interact with one another, we can all help each other kind of manage and maintain our energy levels. So with that, I'm going to start first with checking your energy battery. So here's a tip that I learned years ago. It's really to actually name your energy level based on a number. So I'm going to have you do this. I want you to check your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being low, 10 being high. Before you respond in the chat, though, I want you to think about this. There's no judgment about your number, right? All it is just giving your energy level a number so that you can quantify for yourself where you are. I like to do this throughout the day. I just did it with my 8-year-old. I said, hey, what's your energy level? She's like, I don't know what you mean. And I was like, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, where would you be? She was like, well, I'm doing schoolwork right now. I'm a 4. And I said, okay, well, how do you, what would your energy level be if you weren't doing it? She was like, oh, I'd be a 10 for sure. Okay. So I want you guys to take a moment, think about, we just did a meditation, really getting grounded on where we are. What is your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10? We make no judgment about that number. Go ahead and throw it in the chat. And no one's monitoring your number to say, oh, I can't believe Shanita is out of 5. I will tell you, I was at a 3 when I hit the floor this morning. When my feet hit the ground, I said my prayer and said thank you, but I had a low energy, and that's low for me. So everybody has their own number. And today, actually, now that I'm at noon, I'm at about a 7 on my energy level right now at this moment. So good. I can see a few numbers here. Great. No judgments about your numbers at all. All right. So that is important to note, because when we get to the next step here, I want you to also connect it to an energy, so to a source. So this is where the power comes from. And this comes from emotional intelligence, right? The more we get to know about ourselves, the more empowered we are to manage our energy levels. So I want you to connect that to a source. What do you believe is the reason for your number? Again, no judgment about the number, but what is the source? The source for my three this morning was I felt like I didn't get enough sleep. I need to get, even though I felt like I got a lot of sleep, I still felt like I still needed more. So I knew that that's where that three was coming from. So for you, what is that? We see a lot of comments in here. So we got allergies, headache, not enough sleep, projects, deadlines. Yes, those things are in the back of our mind. Emotional. Yes, we are feelers. We are human beings. We have an emotional brain. It is on and we are feeling, right? Lack of sleep, not enough sleep, too much on my plate. Okay, so this is really powerful because when you're checking your energy battery, not only is it important for you to know kind of where you are, I'm always checking my cell phone battery. I know exactly when I need to plug in. You got to know that for yourself too. So connecting it to that energy source will help you understand kind of what are the experiences, people, places, or things that are driving that. Now, what I want you to do now is to confirm the energy level that you believe you need to perform at your best. As I mentioned, right? Creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and innovation all come from having energy. But for you, what is the number, if you were to say on a scale of 1 to 10, what is the number that you feel is critical for you to be at your best? Maybe you function well at a 6. Maybe you function well at a 5. Whatever that number is, I want you to name it. I want you to claim it. I want you to put it in that chat box. What is that number for you? I love it. Gabrielle, a 7 to 8. We got some 9s in there, some 7s. I know for me, I can be at an 8. Like 8, I'm firing on all cylinders. That's a good number for me. Anything short of 8 for myself, I know I might require a little bit more energy. Okay. So this is really great. So this is just one quick exercise you can do. I've done this exercise with my team in the morning, a team huddle, just quickly, hey, let's go around. What's your energy level? You can also do this with your attention level to see the correlation, to say like, hey, if my energy level is here, how does that impact my attention level as well? So I hope this is an activity that you guys can take advantage of. Low lift, easy to do, check in with yourself, probably first thing in the morning, at lunch, and then in the evening, and even before you go to bed, to kind of see what that looks like. But the first step is really checking that battery. Next, it's all about recharging your battery. So this is where I want you guys to share some of your ideas. But when it comes to recharging your battery, this is all unique to the individual. You have to know for yourself what gives you energy. What are the things that help you kind of recharge and refuel? So some of the tips, based on some research and even anecdotally talking to people in my own life, deep breathing, the exercise we just did, meditation and pausing, taking a deep breath, can help you really recharge by just deep breathing, bringing in the oxygen, exhaling so that you can fuel your body. That oxygen coming in is energy. You're bringing in energy from the universe to fuel your body and fuel that oxygen throughout your body. So doing that is important. Shifting positions. I know we are sitting quite a bit nowadays. So being able to move around a little bit, shifting in your seat, you can stimulate that brain a little bit and move that energy through your body. Also, self-care is so important. Taking a break, especially, looking at screens for long periods of time, you might need to just step away, disconnect for a little bit to kind of, refuel yourselves. In addition, I like this one, make a list of your accomplishments. Sometimes we get latent in our day-to-day and all of the worries and the care of the world. There's so many things going on to think about. Sometimes it's hard to list all of the great things you've accomplished. So really pausing and identifying, what are you grateful for? What are the things that you're proud of? What are the things that you've accomplished for yourself? Those things can give you just a little bit of edge on a tough day. Social connections. I know someone had mentioned in the chat, hey, lack of interaction and social connection with people. Really finding who are those people. Maybe you have those people that I know for me, there's a certain person that calls my phone, no matter what, I'm already smiling. I have no idea what they're going to talk about because I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be a great conversation. So really finding what are those healthy connections for you. Also taking a break, as I mentioned, from technology, but trying something new. Engaging the brain, and for some, right, this is going to take more energy because you're going to learn. I'm learning to crochet right now. I'm struggling, but it is actually very relaxing and takes a little bit of mental energy. but I actually gain energy simultaneously. So try something new. A lot of us in the chat box said we need a little sleep. So making sure that we block out that time to get that deep REM sleep, not that surface sleep, but really get into that deep sleep where you can kind of turn off the brain and really refuel. Getting some exercise in is also important. I was talking to a coworker, colleague this morning about, hey, you know, when I was in the mill, I was getting 12,000 steps a day. When I moved to Elm, I was getting about 5,000 steps a day. I am in my house. I'm getting about 1,000 steps a day, and that is not enough. So really trying to find for yourself, how do you get yourself moving to recharge? And music. Music is known as a stress management tool. I think it's also good for the soul. But playing music can also, you know, find the music for you that gives you energy, kind of refuel. For me, any day Beyonce's on, I'm getting some energy. So find that song for you that turns you into kind of your best version of yourself so that you can recharge. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What are some of the things that you guys do to recharge your energy battery? Or maybe there's some new things on here that you're going to try. So take a moment and put some of your thoughts in there so that we can learn from one another. What are some other things we can do to recharge? Reading, scrapbooking, I love it. Photography. Music every day, Tammy, I love it. Write in a journal. Oh my gosh, Megan, thank you for sharing that. Can I tell you guys, I just found my diary from age 8 through my first year of college, and I have been enjoying reading my craziness and all of my fun adventures. Journaling right now during this time, when you look back, I mean, the therapeutic process of just writing your thoughts out is important, but I love the comic relief I've gotten just from looking at what I've written. Going for a walk, going for a hike, playing with my crazy kitties. I love it. So hopefully you guys can take a look at the chat, pull some ideas from one another. It doesn't have to be really difficult. Sometimes it's just sitting and doing nothing. For those of you who are really busy, just sitting is also a great way to recharge by doing nothing. The other thing that you want to do is really focus your mind. So sometimes when we say we need to recharge, it can feel kind of arbitrary, like I just need energy. But I want to challenge you to think about specifically what you want to recharge. When it comes to your individual health, which is I am, and this is all about I am using my gifts and my talents and my strengths. If you don't feel like you're using your gifts or your talents, if you feel like what you're doing today, or if you look across your life, it's not aligned with the purpose, you don't feel like there's congruency between your core values and your life purpose, sometimes that can take more energy. So really getting clear about, am I living my I am? Am I playing to my strengths? Do I have an opportunity to do that? That might be an area to focus if you feel like you're not quite there. Emotional health is I feel. So maybe, you know, you feel as though, hey, I do have the tools to manage my emotional energy. Or I'll tell you, emotional memories take a lot of energy. So if there needs to be work on some of those memories or some of those feelings that are more emotionally charged that are draining, that might be an area where you want to focus on. You say, hey, I want to focus on really recharging how I feel, not necessarily how I behave, which we're going to talk about. The other one is, I know, intellectual health. This is really, I think sometimes, raise your hand, put in the chat, if you ever felt like an imposter. Anybody ever feel like, why am I here? I don't think I'm qualified to do this job. I'll tell you this thought comes up for me at least once a month at minimum. I'll tell you this, my entire life, I felt like an imposter, like, you know, I'm just working hard. I don't know if I'm really good at this or not. And so sometimes if we're spending time on in our intellectual health, maybe we have thoughts of, I don't think I'm good enough, or I have to work on that thought constantly for me. Thank you, Jessica. I am glad I'm not alone. But so you want to do some work on that to find out, really, all you have to do is define what is it that you know for sure, and what are the things that you don't, and then put a plan together to learn it. And that way it calms the thinking about and the uneasiness about what it is I potentially don't know or cannot do. So hopefully that helps someone. The other thing is about our physical health, and this is all about how I behave. This is about the behaviors that we exhibit each and every day, whether it's I shared with you earlier, hey, I don't feel like I'm getting enough physical activity, which is why my energy level is low, because getting my heart rate going gives me the energy I need. It pumps blood throughout my body that gives me energy. And if I'm not doing that and I'm sitting, I'm not getting as much of that. So really thinking about how is it that I behave 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and am I aware of my body language and my tone, and how is that impacting my own physical health. The last one that I'll highlight for you guys is called I Interact. What friendships, what does a friendship actually mean to you? And do you have those versions of friends in your mind? Do you have them in your social circle? And I'll tell you, this is one that I'm always thinking about. I asked my son, it's so funny, when we first moved to New Hampshire, I saw him playing on the playground with a little kid, and I was like, you have a new friend. And he said, oh, that's not my friend. I just play with him. I thought it was hilarious because his definition of friend was someone that comes over to my house, someone that I spend time with. So, really think about your social health and who you're interacting with. And do you have a trusting support system that you can reach out to with no judgment, that you can just be your authentic self with? And so there are a few others. I actually pulled this from Dr. W, who talks about holistic EQ. And really, I love this because it really challenges me to think about not just I need more energy, but where specifically in my life can I recharge? And what is it that I need to focus on? And with that clarity, I think it helps provide you with a plan to say, hey, here's where I want to focus. It's going to be on my physical health, my intellectual health, or my emotional health. There's another one called financial health, I Exchange. How do you feel about your lifestyle? Are you living the life that you want? And that's another one that I think we all think about is, hey, do I have what I need to thrive? And so hopefully these little identities of health help you think about, where do I want to focus? So I'm not going to ask you to put where you want to focus, but if there's one that you're curious about, or one that you think is something that people in your own life talk about a lot, feel free to throw in the chat box to say, hey, right now we're talking a lot about maybe physical health or social health. I'm just curious as to what's on your mind with respect to these different areas that we can recharge. Once you have those identified, then you can go to the resources. And I know here at SNHU, we have quite a few resources from our employee assistance program. Our benefits team does a really great job providing robust resources. So feel free to check out Workday and the Employee Benefits Lounge to see. I don't want you to spend your energy trying to figure it out on your own. Go to the resources and let some of the experts kind of help map out a plan for you. All right. So protecting your energy, and this is very similar to really thinking about how do you recharge, but you also want to think about where are the negative energy sources in your life. And I know negative is a negative word. People are like, I don't want to think about anything negative, but the reality is there are things that pull on your energy more than others, some that you're fine with and some that maybe you're not. So really thinking about what are the negative energy sources around, your individual health. I am. Maybe when I think about I am, and as I mentioned, I am is about, living, employing your gifts, your talents, and your strengths. And maybe the negative source could even be, and I'll tell you myself, my whole imposter of, oh, well, maybe I'm not good enough to do that, or maybe that would be uncomfortable, or I'll probably fail at that. And so you might identify only like your thought pattern as a potential negative energy source. And to me, that's really powerful. There's a great book called Self-Coaching 101 if you find yourself in that scenario where you want to do some work on your thoughts. I love doing thought work around or coaching around thoughts because that's really like how you think is how you will show up, right? Our thoughts manifest themselves in the world. So really being thoughtful about, is it people, places, or things or thoughts associated with these various energy sources that you can really either curb or eliminate. And then the last one, and our last minute together, is about sharing your energy battery. Energy is contagious. You guys have lifted my energy just right now in this little 20 minutes together. So thank you for getting me to an 8 and an 8.5. But really be thoughtful about sharing your energy. You might be able to lift someone else's spirits. It's not about you always giving yourself to others, but it's reciprocal, and we should be sharing the joys of our life, especially during today. There's a lot going on, so much to process, but we need each other more than ever. So I hope that our 20 minutes together gave you a few tips to think about how you can, check your battery, manage that battery, recharge, and share it with others. Because again, we all need each other during this time. So thank you for your time. Feel free to post anything in the chat. I'll turn it over to Layla to wrap up our time together. Thank you, guys.
Shanita, that was wonderful. And I have to tell you, when we started, my energy was so low. And then now just hearing how to fix the energy levels, it's been so helpful. So thank you so much. I might try to tap you for something else in the future because you're so wonderful, and we all appreciate it. I appreciate it, but I know everybody else does too. So thank you so much, and thank you all for joining. It's just I don't know about everybody else, but these help me a lot. So it's so needed right now too. So I do thank you again, Shanita, and we're looking forward to next week's presentation on mindful communication. We have Sarah McPherson and Megan Longy. And so I want to be mindful of everyone's time, but thank you all for joining, and hope to see you all next week. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Shanita.